Hi, welcome back to the Coin Studio. Some Australian pennies, once worth just a single cent, are now commanding prices of over $20,000 at auction. These aren't museum pieces. They're real coins that could be hiding in your change, jar, or old family collection. In this video, we reveal the top 11 most valuable Australian pennies ever made and what makes them worth serious money. Let's moving on. Number 11, 1946 Australian penny. In 1946, a year that marked the end of World War II and the beginning of a new era, for many nations around the globe, Australia issued a penny that would come to be treasured by generations of collectors. The 1946 Australian penny was minted in relatively low numbers compared to earlier years, with a total mintage of approximately 240,000 coins, a dramatic decrease from the millions minted in prior years. This coin features the familiar left-facing portrait of King George VI on the obverse, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, and the iconic bounding kangaroo on the reverse, a hallmark of Australian coinage that continues to symbolize national identity and pride. The inscription Australia arches along the top of the reverse, while the word penny curves along the bottom. The date, 1946, is sharply struck beneath the kangaroo's feet. What makes the 1946 penny especially significant to collectors is not just its low mintage, but the historical transition it represents. This was the first Australian penny minted in the post-war period, symbolizing a nation's resilience and rebuilding efforts. In higher grades, especially uncirculated examples with full original luster, the 1946 penny commands considerable attention and price. Coins in mint state MS65 can fetch as much as $7,500 AUD or more, while well-circulated pieces still hold decent collector value at $500 to $1,000 AUD, depending on condition and eye appeal. Proof issues, though exceedingly rare, can fetch even higher figures in specialized auctions. Number 10, 1962 Australian penny. The 1962 Australian penny may seem like a common coin at first glance, with over 29 million pieces struck that year. But beneath its surface lies a nuanced world of subtle varieties, striking errors, and beautifully preserved examples that have captured the imagination of collectors for decades. This penny was minted during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II and features the youthful portrait of Her Majesty facing right, designed by Mary Gillick. The reverse bears the iconic kangaroo motif introduced during George VI's reign, continuing under Elizabeth II. The clean, bold lettering and the carefully detailed kangaroo give this coin a strong visual impact, especially in high grades. What elevates the 1962 penny in collector circles are error coins, particularly those with off-center strikes, die cracks, or misaligned dies. Some of these errors can push the value of a regular 1962 penny into the hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. Additionally, coins in gem uncirculated condition with full red luster can also bring significant premiums at auction. On average, a 1962 Australian penny in circulated condition may be valued at around $100 to $150 AUD, but high-grade examples in mint state, MES 65 or above, have been known to sell for $1,500 to $3,000 AUD. Depending on strike quality and color, unique error examples can fetch $5,000 to $7,000 plus AUD, depending on rarity and visibility of the error. Number 9, 1955 Australian penny. A beautiful relic from the mid-20th century, the 1955 Australian penny holds a cherished spot in the collections of both novice and seasoned numismatists. With a mintage of around 21 million, this coin is far from rare in sheer numbers, but quality specimens and rare varieties make it a standout. This coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, still newly crowned at the time, symbolizing the dawn of a modern monarchy. The reverse remains consistent with earlier kangaroo penny designs, showcasing Australia's most iconic marsupial in full stride beneath the word Australia. What adds value to the 1955 penny, besides pristine condition, are die varieties, double strikes, and coins with die cracks or cuds. These anomalies, though relatively scarce, have fueled collector interest and pushed certain examples well beyond the price range of ordinary circulation coins. Collectors particularly hunt for full red pennies, those that retain their original copper brilliance, as these are notoriously hard to find due to the oxidation properties of the metal. Well-struck coins with sharp details and minimal contact marks are prime auction targets. In circulated grades, a 1955 Australian penny might only bring $120 to $150 AUD, but in mint state, values can rise sharply, MS64 to MS66. Examples are valued between 2,500 and 6,000 AUD, and proof-like or error coins can command upwards of 8,500 AUD, depending on rarity and collector demand. Number 8. 1960 Australian penny. The 1960 Australian penny marks a turning point in Australian numismatics. The final full decade before decimalization would sweep the pre-decimal system away. With a mintage of over 52 million coins, the 1960 penny might seem plentiful, but the value lies in quality, rarity of condition, and unique varieties. Queen Elizabeth II's effigy on the obverse is a classic representation by Mary Gillick, while the bounding kangaroo on the reverse remains an enduring national symbol. Despite the high mintage, finding coins in pristine mint state condition, especially with full red surfaces, is surprisingly difficult due to Australia's warm and humid climate, which accelerates copper oxidation. High-grade 1960 pennies are attractive to collectors, not just for their scarcity and perfect condition, but for the subtle die varieties, including differences in denticles and potential misalignments that have become popular targets in recent years. While average circulated examples may only bring $100 to $200 AUD, truly superb uncirculated examples with MS66 or higher grades can command between $3,500 and $7,000 AUD at auction. Full red coins, particularly those with strong eye appeal and luster, are especially desirable. Rare errors such as off-metal strikes or clipped planchets have been known to exceed 1,000 AUD, depending on the nature and visibility of the error. Collectors see the 1960 penny not just as a monetary object, but as a time capsule from a vibrant and transitional era in Australian history. Its wide availability makes it accessible, but its upper-tier specimens remain the province of serious collectors and specialized dealers. Number 7. 1956 Australian penny. The 1956 Australian penny is more than just a coin. It's a representation of a nation on the rise. This was a year when Australia hosted the Olympic Games in Melbourne, a monumental event that marked Australia's growing place on the world stage. Against this backdrop, the humble 1956 penny was struck, carrying with it the symbolism of post-war growth, economic optimism, and national pride. Minted in Perth, the 1956 penny features the young effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. On the reverse is the leaping kangaroo, a design that had become iconic by the mid-20th century. With a mintage of around 34.6 million, the 1956 penny is relatively common in circulated form, but collectors place a premium on high-grade and error examples. What makes the 1956 penny intriguing to numismatists is the possibility of die variations, including subtle differences in strike pressure and spacing. Some examples have been identified with weak reverse strikes or unusual planchet flaws. These anomalies are rarely cataloged but are increasingly sought after in numismatic circles, while heavily circulated examples trade for around $100 to $200 AUD. The true value lies in mint state coins. A 1956 penny in MS64 to MS66, with sharp detail and rich original copper luster, can fetch $4,500 to $6,500 AUD. Full red examples, virtually untouched by time, have achieved prices upwards of $8,000 AUD, especially when slabbed by major grading services. For collectors, the 1956 penny represents an intersection of culture, history, and economic expansion, all captured in a single, beautiful bronze disc. Number 6. 1957 Australian penny. The 1957 Australian penny is a coin often overshadowed by rarer or older issues. But savvy collectors know just how desirable a high-grade 1957 penny can be. This coin was struck in large quantities, 24.6 million, at the Perth Mint, and while that may sound like a lot, finding examples in pristine, uncirculated condition with full red luster is far less common than one might think. The obverse features Queen Elizabeth II in her first definitive portrait, with the soft, youthful likeness designed by Mary Gillick. The reverse once again proudly displays the classic bounding kangaroo motif, which had by now become synonymous with Australian identity. What makes this coin valuable is not scarcity in number, but rather the scarcity of condition. Bronze coins from this era are notorious for oxidizing, and even coins that remained in storage for decades can develop spots, tone, or dulling. It's the vibrant, untouched, red mint state coins that are truly valuable. Error collectors are also drawn to 1957. Pennies for off-center strikes, cud breaks, and die cracks. Some well-documented examples of double rim strikes and filled dies have fetched premium prices in specialist auctions. For most collectors, a circulated 1957 penny might be worth $100 to $210 AUD, but in MS65 or higher, values rise sharply to $5,000 to $7,000 AUD. Ultra-high-grade, full red examples, especially those independently graded, have reached 10,000 plus AUD in top-tier auctions, particularly when eye appeal and flawless fields are present. This coin serves as a cornerstone for collectors of mid-century Australian pre-decimal currency and continues to gain appreciation with each passing year. Number 5. 1950 Australian Penny. The 1950 Australian penny is one of the most historically fascinating coins in the post-war period, minted across multiple facilities, including London, Melbourne, and Perth. It offers rich opportunities for collectors to explore mint marks, varieties, and even subtle differences in die production. The London minted coins bear no mint mark, while those from Perth feature a small dot after Y in penny. This coin features King George VI, whose stoic profile remains one of the most recognizable of the pre-Elizabethan Australian coins. On the reverse, the proud kangaroo continues its bounding leap, the national mascot in motion, a symbol of strength and progress. The historical backdrop of the 1950s also adds allure. The post-war recovery was in full swing. Australia's infrastructure was expanding, and international ties were strengthening. The coins of this era, including the 1950 penny, represent a nation entering modernity. With a combined mintage of over 81 million, the 1950 penny is not rare in general terms. However, high-grade examples, particularly those with full red color and clean fields, are extremely hard to find. Moreover, collectors are particularly drawn to identifying the London Mint variant, as well as rare die errors and repunched dates. In circulated condition, 1950 pennies range in value from $200 to $250 AUD, depending on where, but in mint state, particularly for London struck or dot variety coins in MS65 or better, values climb to $6,400 to $9,600 AUD. A high-grade red coin with clear definition can exceed 12,000 AUD, especially if accompanied by third-party grading certification and a strong strike. This is a coin that rewards deep research and sharp eyes, a favorite among advanced collectors looking to explore mint varieties and historical intricacies. Number 4. 1953 Australian Penny. 1953 marked the coronation year of Queen Elizabeth II, and the Australian penny issued that year stands as a symbolic bridge between two monarchies, from King George VI to the newly crowned Queen. The coin was struck only at the Perth Mint, with a total mintage of 25.5 million, making it moderately available but still fascinating for collectors. This is the first penny to bear Queen Elizabeth II's portrait, a youthful and elegant effigy designed by Mary Gillick. The design is particularly beloved for its simplicity and regal charm. On the reverse, the iconic kangaroo remains, but many collectors note that the 1953 issue has sharper detailing and a slightly different strike feel compared to prior coins. What makes the 1953 penny appealing is not only its coronation year status but also the transition in obverse design. As the first coin to feature a reigning queen since Australia began striking its own currency in 1910, it represents a new era in Australian numismatics. Collectors seek out specimen strikes, proof-like finishes, and off-center errors, as these are rare and carry strong premium. There is also a known dropped 3 variety, where the bottom loop of the digit 3 in the date appears fainter or broken, increasing numismatic curiosity. In general circulation grades, the 1953 penny is worth $200 to $310 AUD, but in uncirculated full red condition, values range from $7,500 to $8,000. D premium examples, so especially those AOCOM with attractive toning or exceptional strike, have been auctioned for 13,000 plus AUD, particularly if preserved in top-tier condition or showing unique traits. For collectors of modern monarchy-era coins, the 1953 penny is a must-have, representing a young queen, a changing world, and a coinage tradition steeped in both history and hope. Number 3. 1942 Australian Penny. The 1942 Australian penny holds a remarkable place in both Australian numismatics and wartime history. This was a year of global turmoil. World War II was at its height, and for the first time in its numismatic history, Australia had to outsource a portion of its coin production to the United States. Due to resource constraints at home, as a result, the 1942 penny was minted in 3 different locations: Melbourne, Perth, and San Francisco, USA. The San Francisco minted coins are distinguished by a small S mint mark, located just above the top of the kangaroo's tail on the reverse. This fascinating logistical workaround makes the 1942 penny one of the most diverse and historically rich issues in the entire Australian pre-decimal series. On the obverse is the bust of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, while the reverse features the classic bounding kangaroo by George Kruger Gray. The design elements, familiar to collectors, take on deeper meaning in 1942 due to the backdrop of global conflict, emergency production, and international cooperation. But it's not just the history that gives the 1942 penny its appeal. Collectors are also drawn to the many varieties and errors that occurred that year. The S mint mark variant in high grade is especially coveted. There are also known double die reverses, off-center strikes, and other minting anomalies that significantly increase value. In circulated condition, a standard 1942 penny is typically worth $200 to $350 AUD, depending on where. However, San Francisco minted coins in uncirculated condition, especially those with the S clearly visible and minimal marks, are worth $6,000 to $9,000 AUD. Full red. Examples in MS65 or higher have sold for $2,500 to $1,450 AUD at auction. Unique error coins and highly lustrous examples can reach up to $15,000 AUD or more. The 1942 penny is a perfect fusion of numismatics and world history, a story of resilience, innovation, and continuity during one of the darkest chapters of the 20th century. Number 2. 1959 Australian penny. The 1959 Australian penny may not immediately strike collectors as rare due to its massive mintage of over 49 million coins, but make no mistake, this coin holds a special place among collectors, particularly those who focus on mint state examples. Varieties and high-grade strikes. Struck at the Perth Mint, the 1959 penny bears the elegant and youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick on the obverse. The reverse features the dynamic bounding kangaroo, a fixture of Australia's mid-century coinage. The design balance, clean fields, and sharp legends make this coin particularly beautiful when preserved in its original condition. What truly drives up the value of the 1959 penny is its quality and preservation. While millions were minted, most entered circulation quickly and saw years of wear. Finding a full red example, where the copper brilliance is intact, surfaces are untouched, and no carbon spotting is visible, is extremely difficult. Adding to its desirability are several well-documented error coins. Collectors have identified off-metal strikes, clipped planchets, and even double strikes, which can elevate the value significantly. There's also a well-known mule variety, though extremely rare, where mismatched obverse and reverse dies were used. These are immensely valuable if authenticated. For the average circulated 1959 penny, market value ranges from $100 to $500 AUD, but in MS65 or higher, prices skyrocket. A brilliant, well-struck 1959 penny with a full red grade can fetch $7,000 to $9,000 AUD. MS66 and above examples, particularly those certified by PCGS or NGC, have achieved auction results of $15,000 to $16,000 AUD, especially when the coin displays strong luster and no distracting marks. Though common in numbers, the 1959 Australian penny is proof that scarcity in condition is just as powerful as mintage rarity. It's a coin that rewards patience, sharp eyes, and a true appreciation for minting precision. Number 1. 38 Australian penny. Topping our list is a true classic, the 1938 Australian penny, a coin that not only ushered in a new design era but also stands today as one of the most visually stunning and collectible coins in the pre-decimal series. This was the first year the iconic kangaroo reverse was introduced, replacing the earlier coat of arms design used from 1911 to 1936. 1937 was a gap year with no pennies issued. With a total mintage of approximately 6.3 million coins, the 1938 penny isn't the lowest mintage Australian coin, but its first year of design, status, and historical importance elevate it to legendary status among collectors. On the obverse is the robust portrait of King George VI, designed by T.H. Paget, featuring strong facial detail and crown insignia. The reverse, however, steals the show. Designed by George Kruger Gray, the 1938 kangaroo design became a staple of Australian coinage. Its placement, typography, and stylization of the kangaroo, leaping across the flat plain, created one of the most recognized coin images in Australian history. The 1938 penny is also notable for its strike quality. Coins from this year often display strong, crisp detail, but full red. Uncirculated specimens are notoriously difficult to obtain due to the natural oxidation of bronze over time. Collectors deeply value original luster, smooth fields, and strong detail, and those elements make all the difference in price. There are also known proof versions and error strikes, though rare, which command astonishing prices at auction. A circulated 1938 penny typically sells for $100 to $300 AUD, depending on condition. However, mint state examples, particularly MS64 and MS65, routinely sell for $8,000 to $12,000 AUD premium. Full red coins in MS66 or above, especially slabbed by top grading services, can reach values of $2,500 to $13,000 AUD or more. Ultra-rare proof versions have traded hands privately for $2,000 plus AUD, depending on pedigree and condition. The 1938 Australian penny is not just a coin. It's a milestone. It represents innovation in design, national symbolism, and the beginning of a golden era in Australian numismatics. For many collectors, it is the ultimate Australian penny and a crown jewel worth chasing. And there you have it, and some of the most fascinating and valuable Australian pennies that continue to capture the hearts of collectors around the world. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting out, these coins prove that history, beauty, and value often lie in the smallest details. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare Australian coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with fellow collectors. Your support helps us bring more incredible coin stories to life. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.